Welcome to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
New York is grit. Philly has soul. New Jersey has more passion than you could ever know.
When you're blinded, 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 whoa.
I think there's a Jersey attitude, and John has it, and Bruce, and we all do. It's that idea that no one is going to hold us back. We are not going to be laughed at. We're going to be respected.
You go through those records, you go through those lyrics. That's real. You can't have anything that really hits people unless it's authentic.
There's a difference between Jersey and New York City if you're actually in there and involved and spending as much time in both states as I have. It's night and day.
If you drive through New Jersey, you're going to drive through a microcosm of the entire United States.
When you're blinded, 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 you can't even see your face.
If you've got a group of people willing to make it their #1 priority and go all in.
You want to honor your scene.
Seeing other people do it kind of inspired me to think like, yeah, maybe I could give this a shot.
Once you start getting into bands, you share the highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
You are fortunate to be able to make music for a living, and you better kick ass every time on stage.
Eras of artists, painters, musicians tend to crop up together.
We were in direct competition with all the bands from New York and Philly, and it was great because we won.
It's New Jersey, man. They love their music.
This is Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm here with our next guest who, this is a pretty killer interview for me because I'm a Jersey boy from all over Jersey. I'm a total Jersey boy. So we're going to talk about a Jersey sound documentary with Randy Dominguez. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pipeman. I really appreciate you having me on the show and an opportunity to talk about a film that is very close and dear to my heart.
Yeah, it's close and dear to my heart. My story is pretty funny because I grew up in Jersey till 1980, and then my dad came in my room and he's like, "Hey, we're moving to California in 3 years." And so it's so funny because that was the exact timing of the start of the 80s metal Sunset Strip scene. So I made it out of Jersey in time to get there to see the first Metallica show ever, only to move back to Jersey to go to Rutgers and find out about the Old Bridge Militia and everybody telling me Metallica was from Jersey. And I kept saying to them, yeah, they're from Jersey after they were from the Bay Area, after they were from LA.
It's one of those interesting, ownership things. If you're from the Bay Area, well, this is where they really got their start. But you always have to look at origins. That's really an interesting point because a number of musicians who really either were born or grew up in New Jersey or transitioned to New Jersey and created music here, I think were influenced by the history of the prior musicians and what they brought to the table. Interesting, in a number of conversations that I've heard both Bruce and Bon Jovi talk about how certain musicians influence their lives, whether you're talking about Sinatra or you're talking about something more current like Southside Johnny, who's absolutely superb in the film. I think it really gives you a sense of the diversity that's actually here, the music that grew in New Jersey. And that's really what I was hoping to accomplish in getting this film out, is to let people know that New Jersey isn't just about, Bruce or Bon Jovi, who are absolutely marvelous. They're superb. They brought a lot to the music world, not just to New Jersey. I just wanted to accentuate that they're an extension of our history.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's another funny scenario too. Like I worked I was manager of Harrow's on Route 9. So of course that's home area of Bon Jovi. So I knew a lot of people that knew him and went to high school with him and used to see him like at the Wendy's when he would go get lunch and stuff. I lived nearby in Jersey, but now he lives in the same town as my studio in Wellington, Florida, because his daughter's an equestrian and it's a big equestrian area. So where our studio is, the gym that used to be there, that's where he used to hang out and work out and stuff like that. So it's like, they're all from Jersey, but everybody knows them. Again, going back to home, where home is, but Jersey really is home to me. I can say that.
I think that really resonates a lot. I have a number of friends that I've developed or become engaged with in Nashville, and a number of them all originated from New Jersey. In fact, Mark Mulch, who's my music supervisor, and in his own right, is actually really quite a good musician. He resides now in Nashville, but he comes back to New Jersey every so often to sort of visit with his family. And some of the discussions that we've had, including with the likes of Steve Brown from Trickster and others that I've had the great pleasure and opportunity to meet, it really resonates how this is their roots, that's never forgotten. It was interesting in one of the interviews that Steve Brown had, in one of the lines, he talks about how he went to, I think it was LA to do a taping for, one of their record. And while there, what he discovered, and this is in the movie, that there's a completely different frame of mind. He said, and out in California, it's the musicians are, what can you do for me? Whereas in New Jersey, and this actually resonates throughout the movie, it's what each of the musicians can do for each other. One of the very heartwarming stories, and this actually came out a couple of times, is that a particular group might have just finished a set. But if you remember back in the 70s, the club scene, there was a club scene around the corner. And so they would finish their gig, run around the corner or to a couple of blocks to get to the other club just to listen to that other group who was singing. And they would help each other critique or support, whichever the case was, to help them become better. And so that they knew they just weren't there alone. It's interesting during the club scene, you have these masses of young people going on to the clubs, getting drunk, hanging out, partying, which was the whole idea. But it was their love of music, not just to go out and enjoy an evening out of, hanging out, drinking with their buddies and girlfriends, but it was really more about really enjoying the music. That whole vibe created such a momentum. It lasted for a little over 10 years until, of course, they changed they raised the drinking age again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in time for me, I think. Because when I got back to Jersey, great. now I have to wait. And, it is interesting. I find it, what you just said about the differences I think is the differences in personalities when you grow up in Jersey opposed to anywhere else. As somebody that moved to LA to start high school, what a culture shock that was. I think I would have had less culture shock moving to Europe. It was so different. And that Sunset Strip scene, it was what all about me, the typical LA scene, whereas Jersey people, it's funny. You go other places and people have this misconception of what New Jersey is and Jersey people are, but we are the most loyal people that are there to help each other. Yes, sarcasm is our second language, but we also understand each other with that. It's not, you go other places, you're sarcastic and people think, oh, you're rude or you're a jerk off or whatever. And really, it's just showing love, you're not sarcastic with somebody you don't like. And you'll give them crap 1 minute, but then you'll have their back the next minute. And that's a Jersey person.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I can encapsulate it with one of the interviews, and this actually became our team's mantra. In one of the Southside interviews, he comes over and says, "It's an attitude." And and I think we wanted to exploit that a little, because even my narrator, Mike Greenblatt, who I thought did an awesome job, he also scripted the narration, and who's a huge music. He's an editor. He worked for the Aquarium magazine back during that time. He was actually at, he was actually at Woodstock when he was 18 years old. He wrote a book about that. So he's got an amazing breadth of experience that he brought to this. And he really kind of brought it into how we were the sort of the middle child between Pennsylvania and New York, or Philadelphia and New York City, and how we ourselves stand out on our own 2 feet. But in a way that he sort of implies it, we complemented each other. You know, there was 3 different music scenes, but somehow they worked together because they were East Coast. There were more integration between the musical groups. There wasn't what's the word I'm looking for? Confrontational scenarios. It was really more about kind of support. And I think New Jersey exemplifies that. It was interesting during the filming. I don't know if you heard of, his name is Unicorn 151. He's a young hip hop, really up and coming, absolutely dynamic individual. He's brought a whole new scene of way to represent music. It's about sort of free dance. It's about really very positive vibes kind of thing. And he was sitting next to me with his girlfriend. And at the end of the film, I asked him, "What did you think?" He said, "I've learned so much that I didn't know about the New Jersey music scene." And that was very gratifying to me, because this is what we wanted to do. We wanted to highlight that New Jersey has really transcended all genres, all time periods. We have moved along with each of them, and within each of those periods, or with even the genres, there have been musicians, exceptional musicians, who have come out of this and have such great stories. I think one of my favorites is Al Di Meola, who talks about, I don't want to give it up everything to see, but he has this great anecdote about him and his father, and how he actually got to sing. God, what was it? Sorry, I've got so much going on in my brain. I'm thinking about Carnegie Hall, and how excited he was, and his father. There's a punchline in there that's actually really quite humorous in the movie, which he explains in a prior interview. So I think there's so many really fun stories that we have. There were more, but to encapsulate this in a way that individuals, and my thought wasn't, this movie just wasn't made for New Jersey and New Jersey musicians and New Jersey residents. This movie was made to make the world aware that New Jersey isn't just a flower capital. It isn't just a industrial state in southern Jersey. There's really so much more culture, so much history. I think my team, and I have to give credit if I may, Monica Mason, my associate producer, I said Mark Mulch, my music supervisor, Ryan Hanreddy, who is a young editor who really come to fruition. He was very impactful in putting this film together. Mike Greenblatt, who's also the editor of my website, thejerseysound.com, he's also added quite a bit. And there are other individuals, Jason Brickhouse, who manages all my social media sites. All of this group worked together. And I think it was very representative of musicians in New Jersey. It was about coming out with a final product that would resonate to people in Germany, that would resonate to people in Brazil. We've got plans to transition the movie into other languages, as we move forward. But it was just kind of really cool. One of the interesting things with my sales agent, my sales agent, Mark Bruder, said to me, there are a couple of companies who are interested in producing CDs. Now, I honestly, at the time, I thought, well, kind of CDs are out. He said, no. That there are a large number of schools that they work with. And when I thought about it, how many schools have music curriculums, whether it be not just universities or colleges, but also high schools, who really want to be able to showcase, this particular sector of the world. I think this documentary can give really a good educational overlook into what the New Jersey music. But it isn't just about Jersey music. I think New Jersey is representative of music all throughout. It just happens to be that we have an attitude when others don't.
There you go. And to your point, it's so true. A couple of points that you've made. One thing I learned being in both the LA music scene and the Jersey music scene is you're absolutely 100% correct. And that's one of the reasons bands like Metallica and Slayer left LA and went to the Bay Area, because we didn't all play along at all. Like, even within the same genre, it was like, oh, if you like this type of rock or this type of metal or this type of punk or new wave or that, like, you were all in these cliques. Whereas I didn't find that in Jersey. Like, yeah, we banded together if you were a certain genre, but you were also supportive of other genres, liked other genres. And, it is representative of music as a whole. And then to your point of New Jersey, like, you go to the rest of the country or even the rest of the world, and they lump New Jersey together with Philly and New York. Like, we're all one people, one area. And if you're from there, you realize there's similarities, but we're vastly different, and so I'm glad that you're bringing out this documentary, not just because of music, but to show the world what Jersey really is all about. And even if you step outside of music, like I've always talked about, and I saw this in the press release for the documentary, is like, if you wanted to visit every part of the United States, all you have to do is be in Jersey. In that small little state, we have every geography and every makeup that is all over the U.S.
I think you're right. One of the interesting facts that I learned early on is that there are more musicians per capita in the state of New Jersey than in any other state in the country. And once that resonated with me, I started to work with my director, Fulvio Cesario, into trying to discover exactly what that meant. And as we progressed and started to realize the breadth and scope, I mean, one of the things I didn't get an opportunity to highlight as much here as I wanted to is the Lili Palani Indians, who migrated here from South Carolina and created a whole really cultural group. In fact, where I live in Bergen County in northern New Jersey, there is actually a whole area that's really resonates quite a bit. They have schools and things that really there's a history behind that. And they were the first known group to create any kind of music in New Jersey. So, I mean, of course, this is really more part of their rituals. We did try to capture some of that, but it's very difficult in a 90-minute film to capture all of that. We're looking to do more episodes to really enhance the viewing experience and to really give more of a background of what New Jersey is about. But I needed to really be able to come out something within somewhat a time frame. We had some struggles, technical issues, like everybody does. Like I said, my team is absolutely incredible. I am very, very fortunate that I have them and I've been able to associate with, and that we, as a collaborative effort, were able to create such an incredible piece.
You did create an incredible piece. It's amazing. I think everybody has to check it out. Speaking of which, how do they get to your website, your socials, and be able to either buy or watch the documentary, check out the trailer, everything? So
right now, my website is www.pipemanit, The Jersey Sound, no spaces, no caps.com. My Instagram is just simply The Jersey Sound, no spaces, all small caps. Through that, you'll be able to connect. Now, through my website, you can take a look at trailers. My website also has a link to Tubi that also, that you can access that. And also we just recently were picked up by Amazon. So Amazon, you can just click on Amazon. Again, we kept it very simple, The Jersey Sound. You can type that in. It'll take you to the website. It's available for rental and purchase, however you prefer to have. There are some people that I've talked to said, we want to keep this in our library because we want this to resonate. Interesting enough, I've asked a number of friends with kids, ages from 7 to 17, and I said, I'd love to hear their feedback. And really kind of interesting that most of them, I would say about 90% of them, have said they really enjoyed the movie, that it was entertaining, I think is one of the words that one of the kids used. And that was very gratifying to me because I didn't want to make a documentary about a lot of people talking. The talking heads just doesn't allow people. We wanted to create a story. We wanted to have a beginning, a middle, and the end. And it ended up that Southside was just an incredible individual. And he really, I think almost personifies New Jersey music. I think we use them as the vehicle, and we work closely with them. We use them as a vehicle to really kind of create the nexus for the story. And we were able to then create a sort of add additional of the supplementary to the things that really give body and scope to the film.
Nice. And yeah, it's great that you brought up about, the younger generation, because they weren't there way back when. So if it was boring, they would tell you. So the fact that they said it's entertaining, that's a huge kudos, because a lot of documentaries are boring, especially if it's only entertaining to the person that lived it. Like somebody like me, it's like home movies. So it's entertaining, but some kid might not like home movies at home, much less. So
that's it.
Say that again.
I said, no, I absolutely agree. Interesting because I'm very fortunate. I have a son. I have 2 grandchildren, a granddaughter and a grandson, and I have a great grandson.
Wow.
I let's just say that I started very young, and I am very pleased with all of my kids and family. They all resonate. I've asked all my kids, because obviously they're biased, but they all enjoyed the movie. They said we really had fun with it. That was something that kind of resonated to me. I do want to mention, because anybody who's interested, Mark Bruder from BRI is our licensing agent. So if anybody is interested in reaching out, they can certainly come through me, through my website, and we can give them the contact information if they're interested in getting involved in the film in any way.
Nice. And is there anything else you want to let the listeners know that we haven't covered already that they need to know?
I was born in Cuba, right? I came over in November of '59. I grew up on the west side of Manhattan, the 60s and the 70s. And New Jersey was to me almost like a foreign country, because in the 70s, there was, the different club scenes and things like that. But I always wondered, why is it? And part of it is because I was young. I didn't have a car. I loved New York City scene back in that day. I was dirt poor, so I couldn't afford to go anywhere. And living in New York City, it was a mecca of everything. But once I moved to New Jersey, I got married, moved to New Jersey, I was able now to experience a different perspective. And that resonated with me. How do I explain my ignorance back in the 60s and 70s to the transitioning and allowing everyone else to know that New Jersey isn't the young child between Philly and New York. New Jersey stands out And it's really what I think we were able to accomplish is to tell the story of a geographic area within the U.S. that not only resonates here in the East Coast, but resonates around the world. And that is what I hope that I had achieved. But by the way, not just me and my team.
That's right. And no doubt. And I'm thankful for you doing that, because you know how many times throughout the years I've tried to explain to people, or they're like, you know, or there's people that go to different places and they're from Jersey and they claim New York instead of Jersey, you know, because they're embarrassed to say Jersey or whatever. And I always say to people, listen, New Jersey is not Newark Airport, okay? Everybody thinks that's what New Jersey is, okay? And even, okay, you take a place like Asbury. Like I lived on the other side of Deal Lake from Asbury in Ocean Town. And when I lived there, you didn't really cross the other side of the lake. But when I was a kid who grew up in North Jersey, you know, you went to Asbury Park as a kid. It was like one of my favorite memories. And now, once again, Asbury is a destination, you know, because they renovated it. But how many people would know that? They may think of the Asbury of old and stuff like that. And I think people really need to watch this documentary, visit Jersey, and they'll get a whole different thing. Because you're right. I was born in New York, grew up in Jersey, and I'm the type of person that I love New York City to go to. Right. And I love Jersey to live in.
I agree completely. I think that really sets it in a nutshell. In fact, a lot of people during, unfortunately, COVID moved out of New York into New Jersey because they wanted a little safety of not having as many people around. And that was really a crazy period. Fortunately, we moved on from there. But I think what is shown is that New Jersey has a lot more to offer than just simply a safe haven or more of a rural. New Jersey really is more of a cosmopolitan state that most people don't really understand. Whether you have Hoboken, Asbury Park, there's so many other places that really resonate with not just music, but with cultural identity. So some of the towns have a lot of historical significance. I think that really adds to the flavor of the state and why there are actually a lot of people that really want to come and visit.
And I find that, you know, anybody I've ever met that's from Jersey, you know, basically has a love of New Jersey, the pride of it and all that, more than any other area in the United States, I think. It's like, it's just a thing that we're so proud of.
Right. And it is part because I think we understand our culture. We have some great sports colleges and obviously teams in New Jersey, but it is not a state about sports, although it does resonate big for a lot of people. But it's also a state of the culture of the even for such things as the Garden State. There's a reason why they call it the Garden State. I didn't find that out to the first year. I came back from my honeymoon, and we came back. I think it was late April, and we see all these all this flowering, and we're going azaleas. It's suddenly going all over the place, and we're going, oh my God, this is why they call this the Garden State. Flowers, colors, it's really amazing. So, and that really kind of opened up a door for me, and as well as other people who come in here are able to experience the Four Seasons. That's the other thing that I enjoyed. We do have 4 seasons. There are states like in the Midwest, northern Midwest, that effectively have 2 seasons, winter and summer, and very little in between.
Right.
We do have the opportunity. We have such great, whether you're going upstate New Jersey and going hiking or going through some of the different areas that allow for that, or you're going down to the Jersey Shore. I do want to mention we held a private event. It had to be private for a number of reasons. On June 25th, down in Asbury Park at the House of Independence. They were absolutely terrific. And we loved the venue because it was sort of almost theater-like in the way the structure was set up. And I had a little over 125 people showed up. At least 75 to 80 were musicians or people involved in the film. I was so humbled by their comments, their hugs, their handshakes. They're thanking me for creating something. And you could see it in their eyes and the twinkle of their smiles that said, we finally have something that tells the story of who we really are.
Yeah. And there it is. That is right there. That says it all about the attitude, the loyalty, the everything of the Jersey sound, and how everybody just supports each other. And that's what I love most about the Jersey sound.
Same here. Well, Pipeman, I got to say, I'm really grateful for you taking your time to give me the opportunity to talk a little bit about the film and about my team, and more importantly, about the state that has a really incredible attitude and a passion for each other.
Absolutely. And I thank you for bringing this about. And everybody's definitely got to check out the documentary. It is, to be blunt, badass. And whether you're from Jersey or you're from Australia, it's badass. So thank you very much for all the work you've done for this, for the scene, for New Jersey and everything. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Thank you very much. And I hope that you have a terrific rest of the year for you and your family.
Same to you.
All right. Take care, Pipeman.
W4CY Radio and Pipeman Radio has a contest to win a free cabin on the most rockin' cruise there is. For the first time ever, we are offering a free cabin on Shiprock. Yes, you heard that right. Win a free cabin and experience your favorite week-long party with us on Shiprock 25, stacked with killer music, rad artist-hosted activities, and bitchin' theme nights. Together, let's rock out, make new friends, and cruise to St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, and Half Moon Cay, Bahamas. DM Pipeman Radio on all socials to be entered to win, or just listen to the Adventures of Pipeman for your cue to call.
Hey, this is Chad from Nickelback. Hey, this is Ryan from Nickelback. We can't wait to bring 10 massive shows to a town near you. Tickets are on sale now at rockthecountry.com.
Welcome to Rockville. North America's largest rock festival returns in 2025 with Green Day, Korn, Shinedown, and Linkin Park. Plus Bad Omens, Incubus, Good Charlotte, Rob Zombie, Alice in Chains, Pierce the Veil, Marilyn Manson, 3 Days Grace, Sublime, I Prevail, and so many more. Welcome to Rockville, May 15th to the 18th at the Daytona International Speedway. Passes on sale now at welcometorockville.com. Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival, the pinnacle of rock festivals in America, returns in 2025 with Linkin Park, Korn, Go! 2 nights of Metallica, No Repeat Weekend, plus Bad Omens, Incubus, Alice in Chains, Rob Zombie, 3 Days Grace, Alice Cooper, I Prevail, Jimmy Eat World, Chevelle, Motionless in White, and so many more. May 8th to the 11th at Historic Crew Stadium in Columbus, Ohio. Passes on sale now at SonicTempleFestival.com.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm here with an amazing musician, and we're going to talk about what we have accomplished. So let me welcome to the show Marko Bojkovic.
Hi, everybody. It's close enough. It's Bojkovic.
I knew it, and I said it right in my head right before I said it too. But I'm glad you saved me. Because what I would have originally said without any coaching is I would have probably said Bojkovic or something like that.
A lot of people say it like that.
And I think it's the worst thing to butcher somebody's name. So that's why I have two techniques. One is to talk to you before the thing and find out how it is. But if I do it in person at like a festival or a concert, I'll have you introduce yourself. So I'll just introduce the show, and then I hand you the mic, and I'm here with, and then I can't mispronounce the name.
Well, Dean, I'm going to tell you this right now. Nobody feels worse at mispronouncing names than me.
Wow. Well, look at that. See? Probably because you're sensitive to it because of your own name.
A little bit, yeah.
So first I want to start off, where did it all start? Like, when was the first time that you knew this is what you were, that you were a musician, period?
I don't know if this counts, but I think my earliest memory of getting into music was when I was playing Sonic Adventure on the Sega Dreamcast. I remember hearing the songs and all the pinch harmonics that Jun Senoi would make, and I used to mimic them when I was little. Nice. But I started playing guitar a couple of years after that, in 2007, and I was forced into doing piano lessons by my parents, as was my sister.
And you probably are happy about it now, but then it was like, why do I have to do this?
Yep. Well, it was more along the lines of, why didn't you force me to start guitar?
Right. So tell me a little bit about this new song, because I love it, because I love the message, okay? Mm-hmm. And I think the message in songs are very important. Some people don't even know the message sometimes. They may think they know, so I always like to hear it from the artist.
Yeah, so I was in a really dark place last year, a very dark time in my life. I found that I couldn't continue with an amazing group of friends that I made, and that was the most heartbroken I've ever been. I'm sure something like that's ever happened to you, where you had an amazing group of friends, but you couldn't continue with them for whatever reason. Yeah. Has that ever happened to you before, Dean?
Yeah, I think it happens to everybody, you know?
Yeah, it does. And we tried to keep me going with them, but we didn't succeed at that. But what we did succeed with, however, is strengthening our friendship. And that's another success in and of itself. And that's what the song talks about.
Nice. Well, and I think as we get older in life too, we learn better how to manage these things. And, you know, it's funny, when we're young, we think we know it all. And then we get older and we figure out we don't know crap.
So, Dean, we should go back in time and say to your younger self, yo, this is stupid. Don't do it, right?
Exactly. But you know what? I also think of it as, if I didn't do those stupid things, maybe I wouldn't get the things that I got later, or understand the thing. I think you need to do stupid things. The people that don't do it when they're younger, I think they tend to do it when they become older.
That's true. They do. That's why when you're young, you always hear people say, make these mistakes now, because then you'll know not to do them again.
No doubt. And sometimes we make them a few more times after that.
Yep.
So but I do dig it, because I think anybody can take their own message from it. And to me, that's the idea of a good song, is that, yes, the artist has their meaning they put to it, but everybody else can put their own meaning to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what this does here. And, you know, it's funny because we're talking on the radio and on podcasts, but I'm also a motivational speaker. So that's why I like the mixture of my two greatest passions: positivity, evaluating what we've accomplished, and music right there.
You are speaking my language.
Well, you even threw in gaming before. So it's like I always say with life, I wish it was like a video game where you could hit the reset button when you screw up a level.
That'd be nice. But, you know, I'm sure there are some mistakes that you're glad you made, right?
Oh, no doubt about it. And I'm glad I had certain experiences that maybe I wouldn't have now. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something we look at too, you know? I mean, it's like there's certain things we do when we're younger that we would never do now, like for the first time. or at all,
That's
but
cool.
we have the cool stories that we survived from.
Yep.
So tell me how people can check out the new song, how they can connect you on social media, website, all that good stuff.
Sure. I'm setting up a website right now, but I've got a couple other social media sites active. I have YouTube active. My name on it is just Marko B, because no one wants to try to say my last name.
Including me.
Yeah. Instagram, I do have my full name on there, but with Shred's guitar at the end. So you can hit me up on that as well. And I'm also on TikTok as Marko B, a guitarist.
Okay, so what's your favorite TikTok that you've done so far?
Favorite TikTok I've done so far. That's hard to say. I like all the TikToks I've done so far. It's hard for me to choose a favorite, but I don't have too many non-musical TikToks, but I think my favorite non-musical one was when I was filming myself in front of the house where the Truman Show was filmed, and I say the famous line.
Nice. So that's kind of like, okay, so I go on tour and I do coverage for music festivals, and one of them that I do is Incarceration, which is at the Shawshank Prison, or what was in the movie, which was it's the Ohio State Reformatory, but it's closed.
Wow.
And it's funny because I love that movie, Shawshank Redemption.
So do I.
Yeah, and my daughter, she would ask me, like every festival I go to, she's like, so are you excited for this festival? I'm like, I don't know if excited's the word, when you're doing it like every week. I love doing it, but I don't know if excited's the word. And then when I got to do Incarceration for the first time, I was on the prison yard of Shawshank Prison. I called her up. I'm like, now I'm excited. I'm on the prison yard of Shawshank. And so, it's pretty funny, like certain things that just stick with you. And then, I did go throughout the prison and, pretended like I was in the movie, doing in different scenes. So
that's awesome.
Right? It's kind of cool. One morning I was outside taking a picture, and some other dude's like, hey, can you take my picture? And it turns out he was, it's funny. It turned out he was one of the bands I was interviewing later in the day. Wow. He's like, look at us. We're fanboying out on Shawshank Prison.
That's amazing.
Right? So, all right. So, speaking of video games, was that your favorite video game, or do you have a different favorite video game?
You mean Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite of all time.
Nice.
Yeah. Why? Because when you listen to that game's music, you swear that most of a Sonic game's budget goes towards it.
Right. And I think it is key in any video game that has killer music that actually makes sense and matches the game.
Oh, yeah. Matt Hafey from Trivium actually said one time, gaming and metal, they go together really well.
Oh, I have 100%. And there was there's a lot of bands out there that, they're gamers. So there's that gamer influence in it anyway, and I mean, honestly, I was a gamer before I was into music, and then I got into music and it just went hand in hand. And I used to, it's funny because back in the day, I would blast my music through the guitar amplifier while I was playing the video game.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, my neighbors didn't think it was awesome, but but it was
cool.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and
no, not at all. So, is there anything else you have coming up on the horizon that you want to tell the listeners about, or anything that we haven't covered so far?
Yeah. On December 20th, which is the same day Sonic Movie 3 comes out, I'm releasing a cover of a Sonic song.
Nice.
Yeah. The song I'm covering is Find Your Flame from the game Sonic Frontiers. Have you played that game, Dean?
That one? I don't think I've played that one.
You got to play it. It's amazing. It's Sonic meets Breath of the Wild.
Wow. I'll definitely have to check that out. That's cool. And so you're releasing it the same day that the movie's coming out.
That's correct.
That's badass. I love it.
Are you excited for the new Sonic movie?
Oh, absolutely. And there's not a lot of movies I ever get excited to go to theater for. It has to do with video games, music, or superheroes.
Oh, I love superheroes too.
Okay, so are you Marvel or DC?
Marvel. The only DC hero I really got into was Batman.
Okay, so I'm both Marvel and DC. But my favorite superheroes are Batman and Arrow because neither one of them have any metahuman powers. They're not aliens. They're just people.
Excellent choices.
Right?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's all right. So that was the Bat phone.
Yeah, it was.
So any final words you want to leave our listeners with?
My favorite superheroes are Spider-Man, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and if we can include groups, the Guardians of the Galaxy. Because we're talking about that. Now, Dean, I got to let this out. I am Groot.
You know what's funny about that? It's too bad I'm not wearing the shirt. I have a shirt that has Groot on it that says, I am metal.
I need that shirt.
Yeah, they sell them at a lot of festivals, and I'd always look at it. I'm like, I need that. And I finally bought it. It is pretty badass.
That's awesome.
Right? Mm-hmm. So what did you think of the newest movie with Wolverine and Deadpool?
I loved it. And so
I thought it was pretty cool.
But my dad hated it.
It's interesting. There's been so many mixed things, but I don't know. I'm kind of weird because I don't think there's any of the movies like that I have not liked. There's always these people being critical. I'm like, it's kind of like with music. There's very little music I just don't like. I just think, I have my favorites, obviously, but music is music. That's kind of my viewpoint. And you are a badass shredder. So
thank you.
I want to thank you for this new song and all that you do. And I hope everybody follows you and checks out the new song when it drops, because that'll be cool too. Yep. So thanks a lot for doing that. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Thank you, Dean. And you know when the album's coming out, right?
Tell us.
January 24th.
Which, you know what's funny about that? That was my mother's birthday. So I can.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So look at that. All these.
So would you like me to send you a signed copy for your mom as a birthday present?
Well, she's not with us anymore.
Oh,
but
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, that's all right. I'm 58 years old, so it's kind of normal almost at this point. It's weird, right? Yeah. I'm like the patriarch of the family, so it's kind of weird to be at the top of the food chain. Mm-hmm. You blink and you go from being 20 to top of the food chain. But I would definitely like the new album, and I'd like you to send me all the MP3s. I'll put it in the rotation in the station.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. Well, it's been a pleasure. You rock.
Thank you.
And
You rock
thanks
too.
again for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
You got it. Thanks for having me on. I hope we can do this again.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.